Completing my level 3 program card for Origin was no joke, one of the hardest parts of the whole qualification. It was one of the hardest parts of the whole course, and it genuinely caused me multiple meltdowns and just really bad imposter syndrome because it shouldn't be this difficult. However, I really feel that Origin's approach and methods are completely non-inclusive. In fact, I think they are dire, to be honest. And I will never ever recommend the courses to anyone because I struggled so much. When I was doing my level 3 program card, I had multiple telephone calls with tutors. I tried to get support online. I even just wanted to get a transcript of the video that went through how to do it. They couldn't even give me that. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to run through the process I used to complete my level 3 program card because I have passed. I'm not going to just share it because I just that doesn't feel right for me. But I do think it's important that somebody can outline the process that they went through because I did a video about this and how I was struggling to complete this program card. And honestly, the amount of people that have commented on it or reached out for information or help or assistance is kind of unreal. So I'm going to go through the process. I would say not that it's any use, but do reach out to Origym. They do want you to go through the official tutor systems and stuff. But once you've done that, and if you're still stuck, which I bet you probably are, because let's face it, it's an awful, horrible system that is completely and utterly not designed for anybody who isn't neurotypical. And to be honest, before I got kicked out of their Facebook group for telling the truth, I think everybody struggled with the program card. So not that that makes it okay. In fact, if anything, it just highlights how inaccessible and diabolical their course is, and their resources. But hey ho. Right. So the biggest frustration I had was that you couldn't type any notes into that spreadsheet of theirs. So I'd have it open and you'll know if you've tried, like you can only put in certain things in certain boxes and click and find the drop downs. So what I actually did was I opened up my own spreadsheet, and on that second page where they've got the boxes, I think there's like 8 of them, I made my own on my spreadsheet where I could actually put like notes down the sides so I could keep track of things. Then what I did is I downloaded an AI extension on Chrome, which would summarize the YouTube video for me. So I then went back and I tried to watch the program card video that they have, and my AI extension summarized it for me. So it kind of helped me understand what I needed to do. I did Paul for mine because he was the most similar to my ideal client type. So that was why I used him. It was so difficult because they've designed it in such an inaccessible way. I also did utilize AI with trying to understand what his key goals were. So on the program resources, it had like all his stats and stuff, and I copy and pasted out of that into like a chat GPT type thing. And the bits that it wouldn't let me copy and paste, I literally typed out. And I said that I basically set it up. I said that I need to design an 8-week program for this client. Here's the client's information. What exercises can you recommend? That's basically how I did it. It was really hard. I did it very slowly, bit by bit. Um, the key sort of things here, I would say, is set up your separate document and don't be afraid to utilize tools like AI that we have now. When it's impossible to understand or follow along with what they're saying, I think that you need to use it. So I did. And it was just a case of inputting Paul's information, saying what I needed to do, which was to generate an 8-week plan. On the second spreadsheet that I had, I copied in the different rep ranges. So I knew what rep ranges I would need. And then it was a case of working out the weights and things. And that was just when it got really pernickety and fiddly. I think the key, though, is just really ignore their horrible spreadsheet for the time being. Work on your own. Set up 8 boxes for your 8 weeks and set them up so that they're sort of similar to their ones on that second page. Go through Paul's information slowly. Use AI if you need to, if it can help you summarize and pull out key things. Then you can ask it what exercises it would recommend. You could tell it something like, give it a prompt like, you are a personal trainer specializing in helping people build strength. I think Paul wanted to be able to do push-ups or pull-ups or something. So it was like, that's the goal. What are some exercises that could be scheduled and programmed to get there? I struggled a bit with the progression on the core element because, and the tutor did actually give me some advice on this one. I had 3 exercises, I think, and I was told to do 4 weeks and then 4 weeks. So just do 2, don't do 3. And I stuck with that for then everything. So the cardio as well, I just changed it up on that 4 weeks. Basically, the program was awful, to be honest. I wouldn't schedule it now, like, because I've qualified, I wouldn't schedule that program that I made. It wasn't good. I didn't like it at all. I tried to make them, I think, full body because Paul's goal was sort of, I think, overall fitness as well as doing his push up. I think, I can't remember. Honestly, I've like blacked out a lot of the qualification stuff because it's awful. But basically, look at it in 4-week periods, choose some exercises that you can either progress to something more advanced. So, like with the core thing, have something that you start with and then progress. Then make it a bit full body. I use body weight for some things, and I was told that I had to record his body weight in there. But then on the Facebook group, some people have said they left it blank. I think go through it slowly, get something in, send it off for feedback. And I think the main points, as I've said, is just instead of looking at it as an 8-week program, look at it as 2 4-week programs with a long-term progression. Don't go focusing on one muscle group. You want to do full body. For Paul, I don't know about the others. I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah. So I basically have got all the stuff that I found that I did using the AI. So I basically worked through it and I used the AI because that was it. So you had to identify the approximate 1 rep max. So I think I would, if you go through the modules, it told you somewhere in those what, so somebody could do 10 reps, then what calculation you would use to then work out their 1 rep max. And I input that into ChatGPT to give me the approximate 1 rep max and things like that. So I could work out what the starting weight would be for each exercise. Then it looks like I identified the exercises that I was going to use and I provided some information as to why I wanted to use those. So how they aligned with the goals that Paul had, because I know at the bottom on the more complicated looking program, the first sheet, you have to describe or explain why you've picked certain things. So I explained in those boxes how I got to the starting weight and how I worked it out based on Paul's assessment, like initial assessment results. I basically almost drew it out so I could try and see how I was going to progress things. And I tried to make sure that I progressed something with every exercise every week, whether that was a few extra minutes on the cardio. Well, so it was a few extra minutes on the cardio. It would have been a bit heavier on the weight or maybe an extra set. And I would explain why I went for that rep range as well. So that's what I did. I have got the stats of how I worked out the 1 rep maxes as well. It was a lot of going through module handout and then basically literally copying because you can't copy and paste. So typing out then into ChatGPT the calculations. I couldn't do it any other way. On the progression tables, basically the way that I think you have to do it is you've got to try and have either an increase in frequency, intensity, or duration each week. But if it went down, because sometimes it looked like it would go down because you might be doing less sets or something, then I would leave it blank. But I made sure that every week had at least one increase in it. Did struggle a bit, to be honest, with the cardio section. I'm going to be honest, I can't even remember what intensity TRH stands for. So that's how good this training course is not. It's dire. I'm happy to answer specific questions or at least try and guide you if you have specific questions and if you're doing Paul. If you're doing someone else, I can't, because I'm not going to dabble in this again because I absolutely hated it. I know you have to include some advanced training systems in there as well. You can only use one advanced training system each week on one exercise. I remember that. So I tried to put two in one of the weeks and I was told, no, you can't do that. So bear that in mind. Choose like one exercise or two if you're doing a superset, and just make that the ATS. Don't do like additional ones. They say it's pretty straightforward when you are clicking into the boxes because you only get certain drop downs. It's really not. It's a horrible system. Sometimes I had to swap out the normal exercise because it would not let me input it in the other way. So I had to like switch the supersets around and kind of pre and post exhaust. You have to put it in certain orders. So I'd have in my mind, I want to do this pre-exhaust, and then I wouldn't actually be able to input that because it wasn't possible. So it took a lot of just stress. Took a lot of stress. But I did it, and you definitely can do it. I think it is just breaking it completely down into a way that works for you. So make that new spreadsheet, make it kind of set it up so it looks similar on that progression tables page. Use notes, like add things up. And just, I was struggling even to follow because it's like lift four. And it's like, I don't know if lift four is a walking lunge or a press up. So I would then I made mine and put my exercises in the names instead of lift one, two, three, four, blah, 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 because I couldn't follow it and because their form is so restricted. Anyway, I hope this helped. Lots of you have emailed me for support and things. So I thought I'd just try and make it into a video. I'm going to try and condense some like show notes or something to go with this, or like some sort of handout just of my process, because I think it is going to be valuable, because honestly, awful place. And I didn't want to do a video about this too soon. I wanted to get my certificate because I've been really worried that if I come on here and say that I was asking ChatGPT to help me, that they would be like, no, you failed. But the reality is they couldn't even give me a transcript of their own video. They couldn't even give me videos with subtitles when I asked for them. There's a lot that is so wrong with this organisation. They have such swish marketing that makes you buy the course, but the moment you're enrolled, they just don't care. But you can do it. And I think the key is take your time, and that once you've done it, you're done. If you've passed your practical, then you can just focus on getting this bit done, and then it is all just in the past. You'll be fine, I promise. If I can do it, you definitely can. And I will, as I say, try and answer any questions that you have. I wish I could share my thing. I just know that I feel like that would not be, it doesn't sit well with me to do that. I think it'd be cheating. And even though that it's awful, I think there is, we can't cheat. I can't share it, so I'm not going to do that. That's it. I don't need to defend my reason, because that's just what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to share it, but I'm happy to go through the process like this in a bit more detail if you need. So yeah, let me know. Good luck. And we do need to change the fitness industry, and actually talking about how inaccessible things are is a good first step.